decided in the court of law. And Bhojshala, though, will be continue to remain as the protected monument, and ASI will manage and control it. The Hindus who believe that this is one of the most sacred ancient temple of learning, dedicated to goddess Saraswati, developed by Paramara dynasty. Raja Bhoj developed this as one of the most prominent sort of universities, and that has been accepted. The way to bring back the Vagdevi Pratima from the museum in United Kingdom, that is also open now, because now the Vagdevi will get its own place. Muslim party, of course, can claim for the allotment of any other suitable land, but their demand, their plea for community prayer to offer namaz at this sacred place has been quashed. So I'll be discussing this issue along with our reporter who has visited there when the court gave the direction for the ASI regulated archaeological survey there, and on the basis of various documents, they submitted a very comprehensive report. So Shubhi, hearty congratulations when ASI submitted 2,189 page report about this 10th 11th century temple. Visited the temple. What was your experience, and how do you see this verdict? I'll of course talk about the historical part, but I would like to know from you, what did you see in the present condition of this historic sacred Vagdevi temple?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and many congratulations to you and as well as to our viewers, as it is a very historic day. We in MP call the Bhojshala as mini Ayodhya for years, and it is a very it holds similar significance as the Ayodhya judgment hold for the whole nation. For Madhya Pradesh, it is mini Ayodhya verdict today. And this judgment by the court, wherein it has considered the entire monument as a temple and quashed the Muslim demand of offering prayer inside the temple. When I went to the temple, it was on 7th of March in 2024, so 2 years back, while ASI was directed to conduct a survey there. It was not that the ASI survey happened for the very first time inside the compound. It happened in 1952 as well. So when I went there, I found so many inscriptions and murtis and whatsoever was excavated from the site back in 1952. What was shocking for me to enter inside a temple of Ma Vagdevi, Ma Saraswati. It used to be the Nalanda of MP, where students and scholars from all across Bharat will come and study Sanskrit. So in my mind, I was going to enter inside a temple, but I had to buy a ticket. I saw Islamists entering the compound wearing footwear, and I had taken my shoes off, and it was so disheartening for me to see that people are flocking inside my temple wearing shoes. I even asked him to take off as it is a temple, but he ignored my demand and went away. So today is I'm so happy, and finally I wish that the Murti of Ma Vagdevi will be brought back from London. Also, the Hindu activists who have sacrificed their life during the regime of Congress in Madhya Pradesh under the Digvijay Singh, when Digvijay Singh was chief minister, three Hindus lost their lives getting worshipping rights inside the compound. That too, just on Mondays, and rest of the day it's ASI monument for everyone to visit. like any other monument. I hope in the coming, as Muslim side has claimed that they will go to Supreme Court and we will fight it in Supreme Court as well, and I believe that we will get similar verdict from there as well.
Should be the historical records clearly show, as far as I know, there are at least 150 scriptural documents. Prabandha Chintamani, authored by Merutunga, in its chapter 5, described Dhar as the hub of knowledge and culture. Bhoj Raja, the king, the famous king, himself has, authored a book called Samarang and Sutradhar, where he spoke about the construction of the temple, the architecture, the significance of the educational institution, and the study, of course, unequivocally tells the story of historicity and authenticity of Bhojshala as a temple and the center of learning both. But from 1305 to 1514, in the Common Era, mainly from Alauddin Khilji's time, there has been series of onslaughts on this majestic temple. Unfortunately, the people who believe in the ideology of iconoclasm decided to destroy this epicenter of knowledge right at the center of India, at Dhar near Indore. What did you see? How far the reminiscence of the old site remained intact? Though I also have visited, but only once, to this historic site. But how far the historic Saraswati temple monument has been maintained by ASA, and how far this signs of that onslaught, and what Muslim party decided to call it, the very very uh, ironically, Kamal Maula Mosque. What did you see, and how far you believe that the meticulous and scientific documentation by ASI committee has helped in establishing the historicity of the temple?
Sir, as you pointed out, that it was during the regime of Alauddin Khilji that the most, uh, the terror was unleashed on Hindus there. Over 1,200 scholars were killed, beheaded inside the temple compound for not accepting Islam and converting to Islam. But his invasion started 36 years ahead of his arrival in the Dharkam complex. So he sent a fakir named Kamal Molla to the compound, to Dhar, and there he started singing Sufi music and all outside the Maharaja's palace. And from there, he managed to convince him that, I mean, he became a Sufi singer there. So that's how he informed Alauddin Khilji about Dhar, and then he invaded, and then he killed so many Hindus there. Now, so this is the same Kamal Molla, which they are claiming that it is his mosque. During the Parmar dynasty's rule itself, the king had given him a separate land, a separate land to build a mosque for Kamal Molla. It is around 6-7 kilometers from the complex. I visited to that mosque also. But despite having a separate land for the mosque, they built another one right beside the Saraswati temple. And if I talk about how visible it is, I mean, what all the ASI survey found, be it in 1952 or the recent survey. So there are murtis of Bhagwan Ganesh. Shivling is also there. So the compound, when it used to be a temple, in the Garbhagriha, there was a Mavag Devi statue installed. Apart from that, on the left side of the temple, there was a Shivling, Mandir, and on the right, there was a Hanuman Mandir. So this used to be the structure. Apart from that, all the pillars are have engraved. Engraved with there are the inscription is in Pali and Prakrit language. It mentions the crocodile avatar of Bhagwan Vishnu. Apart from that, there are mention of Saraswati mantra and Siddhi yantra, Nagbandh yantra. Apart from that, there's mention of Ganesh ji, Bhagwan Ram, and so many things. There is Shankh inscriptions also on the pillars. So many murtis have been grinded by grounders later in the years. So, or also, our Garbhagriha has also been mutilated. It has been altered by Islamist regimes, where the whole structure, if you will see, it is of red stone. But the Garbhagriha now has a lining of black stone with carvings in Urdu, which is a recent addition, and anyone can see it after going inside the complex. And everything, be it any pillar or the walls of the temple, everything, speaks for itself, and it is screaming loud that it is a temple and nothing else. The center of the temple has a Havan Kund, which Muslims refer to as wuzu khana. So on Mondays, we Hindus perform Havan inside that Havan Kund, and on Fridays, Muslims do wuzu there. In our Havan Kund, they are performing wuzu. On Fridays, in the Garbhagriha, we install photo of Mavag Devi with Hanumanji for worship. And on Fridays, Muslim clerics sit inside the same Garbhagriha where we have installed our gods and we place our gods and goddesses. So this is the condition, and that's how it has been for years and years now.
It is really disturbing the way the Hindu sentiments have been literally trampled upon right from the aggression of Alauddin Khilji. What I found, another reference should be that the stone foundation bearing the inscription of Sharda Sadan. Again, Sharda, Vagdevi, all these are the synonyms of goddess Saraswati, Ma Saraswati. So deity of knowledge and purity of knowledge. That meant this place was precisely meant for this. There is another inscription that is mentioned in ASI report, authored by one called Madan, Parijat Manjari. It explicitly states that it is a play on the based on the Saraswati temple architecture, and in the prologue it explicitly states that the first display was staged within the precincts of the Saraswati temple. So historical fact establishes that it was not just the any other temple. It was meant for the scholarly learning and as well as the performing arts. And if we see from the architectural perspective, uh, uh, that also is very significant, because we see various forms of lotus pattern there. In fact, a very old book authored by Percy Brown on Indian architecture specifically mentions the details about this temple, because it has got 106 pillars and 82 half pillars. This is embodiment of essential temple architecture. This because they have Nagabandhas, Kirtimukhas, and Gavakshas, and of course, Go Padma and Lotus. So these evidences were quite evident, and still the secular blindness simply refuse to accept it. But what was your experience when you visited there? How far the local Hindus were attached to this site as a temple, and how far they had this historical memory? How did they carry forward this historical memory of this temple, because almost it is now 600, 700 years since the onslaught started. So how Hindu not just preserve, but also actually in a way documented in memory the resistance to save and reclaim this temple. So what was your experience on the ground?
Okay, sir, I traveled to Dhar from Indore, and while entering the city, I found so many saffron flags installed all across the city. As recently they had observed Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha Day. Soon after, I reached outside at the square from where we get inside the Bhojshala complex. So there are barricadings installed. On the left side is the Bhojshala complex, and on the right side is a Sankalp Mandir. So I entered on the left side first. So crossing the barricades, I was joined by Sumit Chaudhary, who was a local Hindu activist.
This Akhanda
He
Jyoti
told me,
Mandir is also there on the left side.
yes, that is on that's the same Sankalpa Mandir, Sankalpa Jyoti temple, which they call it
Sankalp
locally.
Jyoti Mandir. Yes,
So
yes,
yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
it's a temple which was made in 2006. So from walking barefoot, the Hindu activist took the Jyoti from Sharda Mandir in Maihar. From there, they walked to Dhar and they installed the Akhand Jyoti Deep there, and they have vowed that till the it will keep burning till the time Ma Vagdevi returns to the temple. So it is a very important day for Bhoj Utsav Samiti as well. So as we entered the temple compound on the left, Sumit Chaudhary, who is also a member of Bhoj Utsav Samiti, he told me that the passage, which is the stretch, which is for approximately 1.5 kilometers, it used to be a butcher house for so many years, and Hindus would cross from seeing that butcher house and then enter to the temple place. Under the Congress regime, this was the condition, and later on, when they protested and got the butcher house relocated from there, this place was dedicated for Muslims to organize Urs every year. It is a mela which they observe every year in the compound ahead of the Saraswati temple. And wherever I saw standing there, I only found Muslim housings. And apart from that, so many mosques were there. And as I passed by, I saw shopkeepers selling chadar and flowers. I mean, I had not found a single Hindu shopkeeper there, which was who can sell nariyal or flowers for that matter. But there were shops which used to sell, which were selling chadars. And as I reached outside the compound, on the left of the compound, there are left remains of the temples, and there are so many stones lying there. And in the middle of those stones, Muslims have encroached the whole land and they have built houses there. And on the right side of the temple, there is a Kamal Maula Mazar. I went inside the mazar as well, and I talked to the cleric and I talked to the caretaker of the mazar, and he said that the history of this mazar is 700 800 year old, and he said that the Maulana Kamaluddin, he got a dream of prophet, and then he came here in search of water. I mean, the same water which they get in Makkah, Medina. So the which we claim that it is a Saraswati Kup, they call it Akkal Kuwa. So they claim that it is Akkal Kuwa which brought Kamal Mawla here. And on the side of the mosque and the temple compound are not adjoined. Between the mosque and the temple, there is a stretch of 10 to 20 meter where the Muslims dump their waste from the masjid and from their household. So this is the condition. And I talked to them about what is the dispute, if they will leave it for Hindus, because if I can see it, it looks like just a temple. I can never, I mean, from nowhere it looks like a mosque, but they refused commenting on this, and they said that the matter is sub judice and we can speak only after. So this is, and if I talk about the trauma which Hindus have, so it speaks for itself. I mean, a visible temple which should have a murti there, which should have aartis and prayers organized every day. There, Hindus bring idols every Friday. They install it there. They perform havan, and then they collect everything in the evening and return and take it back. Just because they don't want Muslims to come inside and desecrate our idols or our worship practices. I mean, even in the Havan Kund, they collect all the ashes. So because on Friday Muslims will come and they will perform wuzu there. So this is the trauma. Apart from that, as I told you that three Hindus have sacrificed their life for this. 50 women were jailed under the tenure of Digvijay Singh, and so many were injured, and hundreds of Hindus were jailed as well. Digvijay Singh made sure that this place becomes a mosque, and he allowed Friday prayers there, and he restricted the entry of Hindus for Vasant Panchami only. And it was only after the Hindus struggled and in 2003, they got the permission to perform puja on every Monday from Suryodaya to till Suryast. And this was a mosque on Friday. And for the rest of the day, it remained an ASI monument. There have been instances when Vasant Panchami fell on Friday. And that too led to many so much clashes. And in recently also, this year also, the Vasant Panchami fell on Friday, and Muslims said that they will not allow puja and they want a place to perform their namaz in the same compound, but it was not allowed, and Hindus perform their puja there. So the Hindus in Dhar, they hold so many. I mean, it is cries of those Hindus which has culminated to the joy today. Which I mean, it has been a long struggle for them, and if I talk about myself, I am not satisfied with the judgment, because this should have been declared a temple completely. The control of ASI, I mean, sh should not be there. It's a temple. Anyone can go and see that it's a temple. Why it has to be an ASI monument and not a temple? And also, how come Muslims keep on encroaching our temples and keep on getting separate lands from it? Why? It was an illegal encroachment, and now they will have a separate land. And why? I am not, sir. Maybe you can enlighten me on this, but that's how I see this judgment today.
No, unfortunately, whether the places of worship act or the legal structures that are created from the colonial era that have been like that. Because we need to understand that from 1455 Common Era onwards, uh, uh, Hindus virtually, so from 1305 to 1455. By 1455, Mahmud Khilji already had a control over Malwa, and what was then called as the Malwa Sultanate. And then he actually destroyed all old ashrams around the Vagdevi temple, and converted this the place into mosque, or not actually mosque, but they somehow managed to started doing community prayer there, and then later this entire uh, thing of uh, uh, Sufi dargah and mosque came into. But till now, what is clear is historical texts and inscriptions and the architectural evidence, scientific analysis, and even the the even the most scientific findings related to the temple construction, partial damage and reconstruction, and the construction of mosque-like structure. All this has been now, well documented now. What is important, and as you mentioned, ASI has found 94 sculptures there, including Ganesha and Brahma and Narsimha and Ardhanari Nateshwara. If I recollect, it was T.A. Gopinath in his Hindu iconography exclusively mentioned these, sculptures as the evidence of Hindu religious tradition, and which has no place, absolutely no place. In fact, as per the Islamic rule, also the namaz is not accepted in such a place. But unfortunately, the mindset that has been created with the secular politics that we have, that when we decide to deny the civilizational injustice that is being done on Bharat and the Hindu society, we will continue to face this problem. And for that, Hindus need to be awakened. Of course, Muslims also need to be told that their forefathers have been Hindus and they are the first victims of people like Khiljis and Baburs and Aurangzebs. But for that, Hindus need to be, understand and convince first that this has been the reality, and till then we will have to find some legal ways to reclaim our heritage. What I found is, the let me know, if you have some experience while visiting there. There is a clear mention of ashrams there. Ashrams, the hermitage, which in the surrounding area, which were destroyed, demolished after 1455, and the marks of Trishul and swastika and other symbols are also mentioned by many British historians and archaeologists who visited Dhar. So when we are talking about the Punarpratishtha of Vagdevi at the right place, with the right sanctity, with the right knowledge and spiritual significance, how what are the places that, because under ASI it will be very challenging how to manage this place as per the Hindu temple traditions, the concern that you also raised about. One, establishing it as a religious center, and re-establishing it as a knowledge center. Both these things have to go hand in hand. What was your observation? Did you find any evidences of ashram kind of, or even hostels kind of systems there? Because Alauddin Khilji or Dilawar Khan or Mahmud Khilji, they consistently invaded in after 1455. I think the documentation, I think, is the Tarikh-e Malwa, that had a detailed account of the demolition and the subsequent alteration of this particular place. So what is already existing there, and how difficult it will be to manage it as per the temple tradition?
Sir, as I told you that outside the complex, inside that's a temple complex, and outside you are saying that there used to be ashrams. So all that has been demolished, and their remains are visible. I mean, there are pillars, there are stones which look like the remains of a temple. I had mistaken it for a temple, but as you say, there used to be ashrams and hostels for the scholars who used to study inside the Vagdevi temple premises. So that has been encroached by the Muslim residents there. multiple mosques and mazars are standing out there. One of them is Himasuddin Mosque, and so many. I mean, all the preachers or all the caretakers of this Kamal Maula Mosque, after they die, a separate mazar is constructed out there. And apart from that, locals have encroached the land and they have built houses there. So all the land which was dedicated for the ashrams or the hostels has been encroached by the locals. It is there's I mean ASI has no control over that land, so that need to be cleared if there existed any hostel. And inside the temple premises, I mean, how ASI is going to manage two time if Vagdevi Pratima returns and the Punar Pratishtha of Vagdevi happens inside the Garbhagriha, and I'm sure that the Akhand Jyoti will also be shifted to the Vagdevi temple. How will it become an ASI monument and temple collectively? It will be difficult for them to manage. Uh, that's all I.
But now we need to, because at Organizer we have been following up with this case at different points of time, and we have shown the real face of Kamal Maulana, the so-called fakir of Malwa, who was responsible for massacre of more than 1,200 Hindu scholars, and who was instrumental in destroying the temple complex. So he cannot be sent. He cannot be a pious person, and that needs to be established and exposed. So we will have to, continue the discussion, but um, uh, uh, let me know if you can, speak to some of the members from this Bhojshala Utsav
Bhoj
Samiti,
Utsav Samiti.
and
Yes.
what is their reaction, what do they expect, after this verdict. It will be very, very interesting, but as of now, now after Jai Shri Ram, the time to say Jai Saraswati Ma also.
Yeah, actually.
So there have been friends legal battle, religious turmoil, the Friday prayers versus Vasanta Panchami. But in Indian tradition, the knowledge or the truth, manifest in different forms. And while Hanumanji, manifest as a form of people who believe in physical strength. Saraswati Ma is the symbol of knowledge. Or Lakshmi is the symbol of wealth. So here, creating a Vagdevi, the literally means the goddess of tongue, the pronunciation. So most of the scriptures and the shlokas, inscriptions there, they may be in Sanskrit or Pali or Prakrit. Most of them are in Anushtuba Chanda. Anushtuba Chanda is the sacred meter that is used in the praise of gods and goddesses. So knowledge as the manifestation in the form of Saraswati. That was the idea. And Raja Bhoj and the Parmar dynasty virtually created, as Shubhi mentioned, uh, not just as a knowledge center, it was a center of performing arts, but this destructive idea of iconoclasm, whatever is in the form of murti or icon needs to be destroyed. That is a very un-Indian thought. That is not acceptable, because you just don't believe in something. You destroy it. You destruct it, and there the real debate should start. So on the one hand, this is a religious battle. On the other hand, it is a legal battle. But at the same time, this is a very, very important intellectual battle. If we really want to have peace, if we really want to have a harmony, then we when it comes to the caste based discrimination, we always talk about social justice. Similarly, if we really want to settle the issues related to religious level animosity or discrimination, then we need to address the issue of civilizational justice also. And that civilizational justice will not be for one community. That civilizational justice would be for Bharat Mata. And in at Organizer, that is one of the reasons we keep following such cases. And Bhojshala or Vagdevi temple or mandir is one of such cases. We must congratulate the expert committee and the people who dedicatedly work, the locals who consistently fought for their rights, and keep this struggle in memory, so that this temple is preserved, at least in memory. Uh, the half of the site, or more than half of the site, is still clearly evident that it is temple. It was a great center of learning, and it is also sign of our great ancestors who built such centers. So this is a historic day. There will be definitely a appeal in the Supreme Court and the battle. But again, it will be more of a appellate jurisdiction. So most of the evidence is already submitted in the High Court. Will also be submitted in the Supreme Court, and we just hope that the issue is settled once and for all, and all the parties involved show the magnanimity of accepting the historical facts without any distortion, without any sense of animosity and hatred, so that the uh, social harmony is established, and most importantly, Bharat is re-established as the knowledge center. Without Saraswati, without Vagdevi, without Bhojshala, that is not possible. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Shubi, for sharing your ground experiences on quickly
Thank you so much.
after today's verdict, and we will continue to follow up on this particular case, and try to get reactions from the locals. How do they feel, and what do they expect after the verdict is delivered by the High Court?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.